I'm back home. I really wanted to give you guys a video full of check-ins and everything we had going on for all of the different days being in upstate New York. Truthfully, it was just a lot. Like, I was trying to squeeze a lot into one weekend to try to show my best friend and her boyfriend all of the things that are around Reed's camp, and so it was very event packed. And in addition to that, we had 3 dogs. So Maui, of course, and Anne-Marie just adopted this golden retriever, Carl. I love him with my whole heart. She brought him up for the weekend, and so it was Maui and Carl's first time, officially cousins, but it was their first time actually. They've met before because Carl previously belonged to one of my other friends, but it was their first time with Maui having a different dog enter his environment and kind of staying with that dog for several days. And this is like a lifelong relationship between the dogs that we wanted to build, so it was just a lot of work keeping 2 high energy golden retrievers entertained and like watching them, making sure they're playing didn't destroy the house, and making sure that we got their energy out, playing ball and taking them on walks in between all of these things that we were doing. So I didn't get to record too much. And then, and in addition to that, Anne-Marie, my best friend, is watching my family's dog while they're in Europe right now. Italy. I'm so jealous. But they were watching my family dog and they brought her up for the weekend. So she is terrified of Maui. I thought she was terrified of all big dogs in general, but it turns out it's just Maui because she got along great with Carl. Maui is just too much of a chaotic puppy for her and she can't handle it. So she's a little 5-pound dog and she is terrified of him. So we had to also, in addition to all of that, keep them separate because Maui goes crazy anytime he sees her and he wants to play and he doesn't understand that she's tiny. So we had to keep her separate and also give her attention when we weren't attending to the other dogs, and it was just absolute craziness handling all of these dogs for the weekend, in addition to trying to squeeze in all these other activities and bring the dogs on these activities. So I'll give you a brief recap of what we did and show you some video clips along the way. Unfortunately, I didn't get a ton of content like I wanted. Other than it just being a lot, I have been kind of overwhelmed with work and the podcast and vlogging, and I'm trying to figure out how to give my all, or the all that I want to give, to all 3 of those things while also marathon training and trying to maintain my friendships, relationships, and spend time with my puppy and keep my apartment clean. So I've just been overwhelmed between all of that, and I was looking forward to this weekend so much, and I was really wanting to capture so much content because I thought it was just so much fun stuff we were doing, and I wanted to share all of that with you guys. But with the stress and overwhelm of everything, I kind of just shut off for the weekend. It wasn't the first thing in my thoughts while trying to keep up with all these other things, and I did get some content, mostly pictures, unfortunately, some videos, but I'll go more into my overwhelm in a bit. But I just wasn't able to give vlogging my all this weekend. Also, it's really hard to record. Mentally, I like to do one project and then check it off. I'm the kind of person that just does things that way, and it's really hard for me to be editing an older video and then I'm trying to get better and more meticulous about my editing and make these really high quality. At the same time, I'm kind of new, so I'm having to figure out hacks and it takes me a little bit longer. So I spread it out over a couple of days, and it's hard for me to edit that while also recording a new video because it's 2 intermixing projects and it's just not how my brain works. So I'm trying to figure out how to make that work for me, because obviously I can't vlog every other week. I don't know, maybe I can, but there's just so much going on over these next couple of weekends. I'm going to be capturing every weekend of content, so I am figuring that out. And I was trying to edit some of these Miami vlogs that I'm going to get up because they are so outdated now. Basically, it's from a month ago, and now I want to be able to churn this content out soon. And I also have a video from Cozumel last year that I want to get uploaded. It's been a long time editing that one. It was my very first YouTube video. Well, not first. I had a few other basic ones, but it was the first one that I was trying to actually make like an extensive travel vlog and like make it really good. I hit like so many technical difficulties with that one. A lot of it was GoPro footage, which unfortunately is too high quality and it kept crashing my Mac. So I like had to put it on a hard drive, and then even the hard drive, the quality was too much. The quality was way too high for the software that I use, even though it was on the hard drive. Like, so I had to make like a smaller condensed file of it. None of you care about this, but then I had to figure out how to do that, and then there was problems with that, and then the hard drive like doesn't stay plugged into my Mac and all of these things. I got a new hard drive for all the videos that I've been doing lately, but all of that Cozumel content is still on the old hard drive. At this point, we're coming up on October 2nd. I think the Cozumel trip was September 30th to October 4th or something like that last year, because I went for Rita and I's anniversary. So it's been a full year since my trip to Cozumel, but it is still like really good quality stuff that intermittently between all of these vlogs I want to get up for you guys. So YouTube is on my mind. I really do want to be committed to this. I just need some patience on figuring out how to do this, honestly, because my job is pretty demanding, and then I also really love the podcast. It's such a fun outlet, but the quality of product I like to release with the podcast is higher than just recording it and posting it. Like, we like a really good quality product, and that requires editing gaps of silence out and a lot of ums, and we're getting better about not saying and I'm personally, like with YouTube, I have perfected that, but some of our guests still say it, and it's just a matter of making sure that what we put out is really worth it. So that is still taking me a while as well. And I just want to do it all, I really do. But luckily my last 2 long runs are coming up. One is for a race this upcoming weekend, which I'll post in the next vlog that I'm going to record. And the next I'll do the following weekend, and I'll be doing that on my own. So lots going on, but I do want to prioritize YouTube because I think this is my biggest love, honestly. It brings me the most joy to edit these videos. I was making fan videos at 12 years old because I just loved putting music to videos and making everything look cool and telling a story through video. This is my first love, and I really want to be able to put the time in for this, but because it's my first love, I'm also more of a perfectionist with it, so blah. Anyway, all that aside, recap of last weekend, or I guess first I'll just open up and tell you guys like just all the overwhelm. So during the week, I typically wake up, marathon train, scramble to like get semi-presentable, because honestly, I don't look too cute on weekdays. It's just the reality of my schedule and marathon training and spending so long running and trying to fit strength training in there and getting Maui to the dog park. Like, my mornings are, my run is peaceful to me, or spin or strength training or whatever. That's all peaceful to me. And then it's complete chaos after that. Like, get ready, get Maui to the dog park, get breakfast, sit down for work, have the coffee that I need, whatever. So that's my morning, and then I spend a while during the day working, and then work is usually pretty draining, and before I know it, the day is over, and sometimes I'm working later to like 6, 7, which then makes it hard to do the podcast and vlog stuff, but I still try to set time aside and do that. So I'll do that from like 7 to 9ish. When I actually get to end work on time, I get more time to do that, like 5 to 9, but either way, I'm usually working like 9 to 9 between that job and doing this. And then finally I get to sit down. Luckily I have an amazing boyfriend who handles cooking or picking up food or whatever for dinner, so I like to just be done with my day by the time I sit down for dinner. I might have like found some adjustments I want to make to that. Maybe we'll start actually being able to have dinner earlier, and then I'll do some post-dinner work. But personally, as of right now, I like to just sit down and like breathe, spend some time with Reed, and usually after I have dinner, I'm like so not in the mode to get back into working. We'll like watch an episode of whatever show we're watching. Right now, he's rewatching Vampire Diaries with me. And then we go to bed and I do it all over again. And usually Wednesday is around the corner. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've been focusing too much on YouTube and the podcast hasn't been touched. So I have to scramble to get the podcast done. And usually sometimes on those days I'm up until like 2 a.m. editing the podcast. And then Thursday morning it's up and then I'm like, but like I put all this work into YouTube Monday and Tuesday. I gotta really get that finished so I can get it up before I lose traction on it. And then Thursday's that, and then Friday it's like time to record a new podcast all over again. And sometimes I haven't even like planned for that podcast, and so I'll plan for that podcast Friday, Saturday, and then we record on Sunday. Usually we try to record on Friday, but like I said, if we need more planning, we record on Sunday, plan Friday, Saturday. So it's just like repeat every week. And we took Friday off to go to camp this past weekend. And I was hoping to focus on YouTube in my intermittent time while I was at camp, but we drove up late Thursday night and I wound up working so late. I was honestly working job until 1 a.m. that night. It was fine because we were waiting for Emery and John, who are coming from DC to upstate New York, so it was like a 5-ish hour drive for them. So it was fine that I was working that late. I didn't mind because it kind of kept me up until they got there, but I did not really, I was burnt out at that point. I was so burnt out. They got there and we crashed, and we're supposed to get up early Friday and get to the hike. But because they got in so late, we woke up a little later than planned, and then we had to get the dog's energy out because Maui would be like jumping and pulling the leash and going crazy if we didn't get some of his energy out before going on this hike. Because the hike was also a 40-minute drive from camp. So he would have been sitting in the car, and it was just all these things. We had to feed the dogs. We had to take care of Lily before we left because I didn't want to take Lily on a hike because she's very high maintenance and a princess and couldn't handle it. And so it was already off to like a rough start. And I just kind of like shut off, and I honestly probably drank too much over the weekend. I mean, it wasn't like crazy. I don't get super wasted anymore, but I felt gross by the end of the weekend. Like we had so much beer. We brought beers for the hike, and then we went to a brewery after. I'll explain more in a second, but so I kept feeling icky, and then I would like, it was more of a steady buzz, but in order to keep a steady buzz going, I was just drinking a lot of beer, so I felt icky and I just didn't feel good. And in addition, I forgot, I was like getting over a sickness at the end of last week. Like I was sick randomly, which is annoying because I used to only get sick like twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. And I already had like, I was sick in July, and then I got sick again this past week, and I was like, what the hell? I was recovering from that, and I just like was not feeling good, and we were sleep deprived from like sleeping 2 to 8 on Friday. And anyway, so that was kind of why I shut down for the weekend. I was just drinking beers, maintaining like a borderline buzz to like a little saucy. So I was just not in a good place to record, and that is a bad cycle, honestly, and I don't want to be on that cycle because obviously if you're working really hard Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday, and then you're like partying too hard Saturday, Sunday to like get over it, it's just the same cycle over and over and over again. So I'm cutting back on like just drinks in October. Like I said, it wasn't that crazy. It's just I personally, like, especially training for my marathon and the lack of sleep I get, I want to start feeling better. So over the next month, I think that's something that I want to really cut back on and try to focus more on like recording and stuff and being productive a little bit Saturday and Sunday mornings rather than just like completely shutting off for the weekend, and just being more steady about everything, like slower on the drinking. Maybe like instead of having a beer if we go on an early morning hike, just like having one with dinner or something, you know, so we'll see. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I'm working on just feeling better and finding ways to cope with my overwhelm because I want to take care of myself, and I really want to perform well in this marathon too, which isn't going to happen if I'm burnt out all the time, and I'm not going to be able to continue to record vlogs and podcasts and all of these things if I'm burnt out all the time. So I'm trying to figure out how to do all of those things without being burnt out. So again, just asking for a little bit of patience. But I don't want to come from an angle of like, I hate this, this is terrible, these are terrible times, because I do want to think in terms of abundance. Like I feel like when I was trying to do YouTube, a year plus ago, it was like a future thing. Like I'm waiting until everything is lined up and I'll do a little bit here or there, but I wasn't really doing it. And now I'm actually doing it. I just started, I'm not doing it well, but I'm actually doing it. So I feel like I wasn't on this path before, and now I am on the path of my life. And like basically, I guess I've gotten into manifestation lately. And so I feel like there is this world where I exist and I'm doing what I want and I'm pursuing what I want and I'm involved in those things. And I feel like I was on this other world before, not doing that and just kind of like going through the motions. And now I'm actually in the world I want to be in. And so that is progress. And I am happy to be doing that. I'm so creatively fulfilled these days that I'm actually like getting up and I actually feel like a YouTuber and I am creating content. It may not be where I want it to be right now, and it may not be as consistent as I want it to be, but I am in that world. And I am so grateful that I like got up and actually did this, and I've learned Premiere Pro and I've learned Adobe Audition for podcasts, and I've learned these programs, and I'm able to actually do these things and post these videos, and I am getting views on this stuff, and that is so exciting. They're so small, but I have faith that that will grow. And I actually am so happy that my creative cup and just like, I guess, assurance that I am moving forward rather than standing still are being fulfilled, and it's just all kind of pouring in, and I'm happy and I'm feeling the like, I guess, the satisfaction of actually doing these things. So I don't mean to come from like a I'm so tired standpoint, because I'm happy to be doing these things, and I am so happy that I am training for this marathon, which also is not getting the full amount that I want to give to it. I am grateful for all of these things, and I'm enjoying the ride. And I do wake up every Monday and I'm like, I can't wait to see what I do this week. And every morning is the start of a new day and more excitement for me to like conquer and get more things done. And I love the process. I am loving all of it. But I need to find a way to not fully shut off when I'm trying to turn it off, because if I ever want to own my own business, you're also not ever fully off. I want to find a way to lower my on when I'm on just a little bit, and also just not turn off and like heighten my off. Anyway, these are all my ramblings. My thoughts are all really weird right now, but I just wanted to let you guys in on like what's been going on and why I did not get a ton of content this past weekend. But that being said, quick little recap. Like I led you guys up until Friday morning. So we went on this hike. It's called Sam's Point. I was excited to show my friends because there are gorgeous views. There's really cool ice caves. Like there's so much cool stuff on this hike. So it's called Sam's Point in the Catskills. I don't remember the name of the area. I'll put it here. It's a really cool hike. Really love it. The ice caves are so cool. It's a little challenging. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's some rock climbing, but it's a really fun hike. It's also challenging with the dogs. So if your dog is not super athletic, proceed with caution. That's all I can say. Some cliffs to like overlook an amazing view. So it is a really, really cool hike in upstate New York. So we did that, came back, checked on Lily, walked around Reed's Camp some, and got to Roscoe Brewery, which was really fun. It was kind of chill because it was a Friday and like no one was off, I guess. We actually learned about an Oktoberfest they were having the next day with a full menu, because they did not have the full menu on Friday, unfortunately, because they really love their food and they did not have some of it. So we decided like, okay, if there's time on Saturday, we'll come back to Oktoberfest. And then Friday night, we again took the dogs out, walked around, showed Anne-Marie and John what Reed's Camp looks like. And then we went to dinner at our favorite Italian place in that area, Brother Bruno. Came back, played some board games. Everyone was exhausted because of how late Anne-Marie and John had gotten in the night before, so we went to bed. did the same thing, got all of the dogs' energy out. Obviously the whole weekend revolved around dogs. We went over to the lake. It was cold, honestly, but not crazy cold. Like the water was still warm because I guess it had warmed up over the summer and it takes a while to cool down. Dogs were swimming around a lot. John and Reed went to go fish, and Amory and I relaxed and were watching the dogs. It was like we could not take our eyes off of them because they were just having so much fun, which is great, but we didn't want anything to happen, so we had to supervise the dogs. We also wanted to go get John a pie for his birthday. Went into cute little downtown of Monticello and got a pie from the bakery before going back to pick up the boys and heading to Oktoberfest at Roscoe. So we went back to Roscoe. Oh, rewind. Friday, I also want to give Catskill Brewery a shout out. We went to Catskill after Roscoe, so we did a little brewery hop before we went to the Italian place. Catskill was great. But Saturday we went back to Roscoe for the Oktoberfest event they were having. We hung out there for a little bit, only got a little bit of food because we got there kind of late after everything and we were just hungry for some snacks. So we had a little bit of food and then went back, got ready, and went out to dinner on White Lake, which is a very pretty lake in I guess, I don't know if it's Monticello. I'll put the area here. It was this place called Benji and Jake's, which is on the water. It's like a really unique, cool pizza place. And so we ate with this very beautiful view of this huge lake, and they surprised John with the pie. So it was really cool. I got the Laughing Goat pizza, which I don't think I have a picture of, but it was like vodka sauce based with goat cheese, mozzarella, onions, and sauteed mushrooms. So it was really good. We went back, picked up Lily because Lily needed a little extra love. She hadn't gone anywhere with us yet because we were bringing Carl and Maui to the breweries and the hike. So we picked up Lily to give her some extra love. We took her to this cute little creek bar. I forget what town this is, too. Put it down here. It was featured on Secret NYC at one point because it's not too far upstate. Like, it's honestly more western New York, upstate from New York City, but like it's not that far. So it's featured on Secret NYC, but it's called High Voltage, and it's a really cool bar in like this woodsy area, and you walk through these string lights and get to this like very low-key bar where they have live music and a really cute setup and all of these things. I actually did get content of that. It's by a little creek, so you see the creek, and it's just like a really nice, relaxing atmosphere. So it was a lot colder that night, so we all cuddled up and by a fire because they also have fires set up there. It's a perfect fall vibe. And just went to the Harvest Festival, which is at Bethel Woods. It's where Woodstock was, the music festival. I don't know. That's their big thing, is the historic site of Woodstock. So they have a really cool big Harvest Fest, which is basically like a very elevated farmer's market. Like there's clothes and all these other things, but they also have really great farmers market stuff. Spent way too much money. Reed and I spent like $200 between the two of us for a bunch of stuff, but it's all great. I love everything we get from Harvest Fest, and I look forward to it every year. Being last year and this year, because last year was the first year I ever went. It was great, and then we all headed home. So that was my weekend in upstate New York. Thank you guys for listening to all this rambling and everything. I hope you're not too disappointed that I didn't get a ton of content from the weekend, but I'm excited to post this anyway. See you next time.